Right, so welcome back. Now we're going to go through the decoder fitting process, and I've already taken the screws out of this one ready, and I'll do the other one on camera shortly. So they're quite easy to dismantle. Only thing I will say is be very, very careful. There is a plug there you can unplug, but there obviously is wiring, and it looks like one of these wires is actually broken on my model. So that's a very good start. Yep, I actually have a broken wire, if you can see that. I have a broken wire on my train. I literally only just unscrewed it, so that must have been trapped when it was put in, so I'll have to repair that. Let's hope there's no damage to the main loco. That's just a dummy car. So I'm sorry, I can't see the camera very well. So for removing the body, there are 4 screws as per the instruction sheet. 1, 2, and then you turn the bogey there, you can see the 3rd one and the 4th one. So I'm just going to undo those and keep those 2 with that one. Now I'm actually quite disappointed because I was really hoping to give a really good review on these class 43 HSTs, and so far that the paintwork has let it down, and obviously a broken wire there, but that's not, for me that's not a big deal because I'm good at soldering. But for somebody who doesn't do soldering or wouldn't want to do it, that's obviously a bit of an issue. So obviously be careful when you're undoing these. You don't want to slip and scrape the side of the paintwork like that. Well, obviously I didn't scrape it, but it slipped off. That's 3. I do like to keep my finger, I don't know if you can see there, against the screwdriver when I'm doing them, because it stops it sliding towards the body shell anyway. And that is how easy it is. You can see that just literally came unclipped as the last screw came out. So we lift it very, very gently. This is the first time this one's been opened. Slide it forward slightly because this lip here sits underneath. I don't know if you can see on the cameras. Let me have a look. There you go. Look, so when that goes in, that slides under like that and then drops down. So when the reverse, when you lift it, you need to then slide it backwards slightly, being very careful until it becomes loose. So there we go. But again, we're going to have to be very careful because those wires are attached. No, there's no damage to the wires on this one, luckily. So that's something that's good. I'm just going to pop that down. All looks good in there for me. Right, so I'm going to lay that down. I've got a bit of foam mat down to lay these things on so nothing gets scratched or damaged. And we have our class 43 decoder twin pack, and I don't know if I can find a number. Yeah, that is R8120. They come with these speakers. I will change them, but I'm not going to do that until a later date because I'm not got the other speakers to hand at the moment. I've still got a load of old bits up in the loft, and typically my box with all my speakers, spare couplings, all that sort of, and spare loco parts is still in the loft. So got to open this. bit of a pain. Just going to use the screwdriver along the edge of the inside of the card there, just to get a finger in. There we go. Now it comes with a pack of screws, the decoder itself, and the 8-pin socket, and the speaker. Now I'm hoping obviously that, I'll just check that it's actually on camera. Yep, it is. So that should fit there like so, and it does, and the brackets are lined up. Anything I will need to do is find a very small Phillips screwdriver. So give me 2 seconds. I don't know if I have one up here. Right, I'm going to have to find a screwdriver as I don't have one handy. So I'll be back shortly. Right, I'm back again. I've got my trusty little screwdriver. This one's got multiple heads. It's really good. So pretty simple process. The screw threads are already there on the loco as well. So we put this one screw into here. Let's see if I can just move it a bit closer just to show you. So there is a screw thread there, and as you can see, when I line that one up, there's another screw thread right there. So we're going to put that one in now. Oh, try not to damage that. I don't like picking it up like that when I'm in the middle of doing this. And one thing I've just found out is there's no thread on the other side, so that's really good. So another small fault. I'm not doing very well here, but it's not a big deal for me because that will stay like that. I can live with that temporarily until I do that. Right, so when you're pulling these out, I don't know if you saw, I got pressure both edges like that and pulled evenly. Try not to bend them, because if you do want to put this back to DC to sell it, you'll need to keep this piece to put back in. So that will go back. This piece I will keep in the box for the model, so that will go there for now. And then we have our DC chip. Now obviously we have to be a little bit careful, because when you're fitting one of these, all of this is electrical, it's all live, and so are a lot of the parts on here. We do not want that to be touching that loose as is, so I do need to go and get some shrink wrap and put that around it, or some electrical tape. And obviously when we're looking at our pins, we have one that's a square pin there, that is pin 1, so we need to make sure that we put that in the correct way. And be very careful when you're putting these pins in. I'll try and bring it up to the camera. So as you can see, the pins are numbered 1 to 4. That one there is numbered with a 1 on the corner of the PCB board there, and if you turn it over, that's the one with the square underneath. So when we're putting them in, you need to just gently get them lined up, make sure that they're all lined up before pushing down, otherwise you'll bend or break something. And for the first time ever, I've had a nightmare trying to get this one in. It's because I'm trying to look at the camera as well. There we go, and that is in nice and firm all the way to the base, but obviously make sure those pins are lined up before you push down or you're going to bend them. So that is done. That would be ready to chip, although obviously, like I said, we don't want to leave this like that because it would get damaged. Now I am quite surprised because quite often when I've bought chips, they do come with a little bit of rubber to go over this area, and there isn't one on this one. So if you just bear with me a minute and I shall be back. Right, so what I have here is some plastic electrical tape. I wouldn't use any other sort of sellotape or anything like that. I don't think that that would be a very good idea. So what I'm going to do is just rip off some pieces and put it over the side of the loco. I might have to trim those yet. Yeah, I'll probably end up trimming those in a second. I made those a bit long. Just making sure to keep the wires out of the way. And the reason I'm doing this is to make sure that nothing can short circuit if it was to touch. So I may be alright with that. Let me just check the other side. Pushed firmly down, yeah. Now at this point I could just leave that on there like that, which is almost what I'm going to do, but not quite. Now these chips do get quite warm, so I don't really want to completely seal over this chip. So I'm just going to get the wiring like so and tuck it like that. Now that can sit there. It's not going to touch anything. It's not going to short circuit. We know we're all okay. So I'm going to try and put this body back on. Obviously we have to be a bit aware, and I'm also aware that I've just done something a bit silly there. The holes there for the screws to hold the body on, so I should back. Right. Yeah, so what I've just done without thinking about it is I've just covered up the holes for the where the body joins on, and actually I've just realised that I've done something else wrong as well. So I've made a complete pig's ear of this now. Ooh. That screw thread that I put that on there actually is where it goes through to the body. So we're going to have to change this completely. So there you go. We learn by our mistakes. We also learn by giving it a go. This is why I'm never scared to have a go at something. So nobody's perfect, especially not me. Right, so without thinking about it there, what I've done is those holes that I tried to screw that into are actually the holes for the joining the body together. So what I need to do is see if those will go into the ones further back. I will try that, see if they're better, because they're not being used for anything, definitely. Let's just see if that screws in. I think that's maybe what they're there for. not, so there's nothing screwing in there. But there's other ways of doing these things. So the other thing I've noticed is obviously the roof fan section there, so we would want it further back. Trying to work out where it would sit, about there. So there are other ways of doing this. I mean, obviously you could glue it down. I don't want to glue it because I will be obviously changing the speaker at a later date. So I don't want to cover up too much of the speaker either. So this is quite an interesting thing in the end here, because obviously it's becoming quite fiddly and a lot of messing around, and for somebody who hasn't got a lot of confidence in these things, this could be quite off-putting really. I mean, I only need to hold it in there gently for now. Those holes there at the back do not have any thread in them, so the screws that they've supplied don't go in. They don't work with that. So we're back to where we were. Obviously I haven't got quite as long a piece there now, but if I just cover that section there, again, and I'll just get a tiny piece over that end, so that the top of the pins there are not going to touch anything. Hopefully that's going to be out of the way of everything now. Just trying to work out, yeah, because obviously we've got this piece in here to take into consideration as well, so I'm hoping that fits in there all right. I'm wondering if it's meant to actually fit there where those two screws are. Just trying to work out. No, there wouldn't be enough room. I mean, it's, like I said, it's not a problem for me because I'm going to change this speaker later anyway, so I'll be permanently fixing a different one in later on. Let's just see how this body fits now. So make sure we get that front end in first. There we go. And push down. Yeah, that fits really nicely, so quite happy with that. And drop these two screws in. Do those up just tight enough. Yeah, I could have cut that bit out where it all went wrong, but you know what? That's the way it goes, isn't it? I think all of us have a go at something, it doesn't go quite right, and you learn, you tried something different and it works a bit better. And I think that's the way it is, and that's life, so why don't wish to see the point in hiding it. So that's done. That is the main loco done. And then we've got the dummy car to do as well, but I've still got to repair that broken wire as well. So that's going to be a little bit annoying. And the reason there's only two screws on this one is because the two this end didn't drop out at first when I did it. They're actually trying to drop out now, but I'm wondering if those, no, because the metal plate's in the way there. So again, they give you these mounting screws and mounting points, but there isn't actually anywhere to mount it to. You can just have to stick it down somewhere, you know, which is a little annoying. But for the case of this today, literally all I'm going to do is place it in there, because like I said, I'm going to be taking it out, so I don't want to permanently fix it. So I pop the whole pin out, make sure I've got pin 1 there lined up. And in it goes. So that's very easy. So you've got to be very careful. These 2 wires here are the pit for the pickups, so I don't want to sort of damage those anywhere. So my concern is obviously that touching there, shorting something out. So what I think I would do, so just put this under those 2 wires over the metal, which is the weight of the loco. And it's not too bad. Could have maybe done with a little bit more weight, but then again, as long as it's got enough, that's probably enough to keep it down nicely. And then I can just place that in there and that in there for now. But obviously I'm not going to do anything until I've repaired these 2 wires that are broken. So I'll leave this for now. I don't need that to run the train, although it'd be nice. So I'll see if I can get it done before I start doing the running shots, and we'll go over and program in the main power car. So I will see you over at the programming area. So all I did here is I literally pulled at the end of each wire, yanked off a little bit of the plastic coating, and I'm just going to move it up a little bit. I'm going to spread those out because I want that wire to be nowhere near anything of the loco. So if any solder was to drop, it's not going to damage the body or any of the electrics. Never solder over the top of this. If you had to drop solder into these PCB boards, that would be quite bad. I'm just waiting for my tip to heat up. I wasn't going to show this, but I thought I would. And here's a question for you guys. I know a lot of people don't like soldering, or they don't know how to solder, and I'm quite willing to do like a video on basic soldering for anyone who'd find that of interest. So if there's any people out there that would like to see something like that, give me a shout. So I'm literally just tinning a bit of wire onto there. It's very, very fine wires, so we don't want to overdo that. And that's fine. And then I'm going to wrap, as you can see, it's cooled down already. That wire flush against there. And then we're going to get a tiny bit of tape, of the insulation tape, and I'm going to use my knife to cut a piece off this time, because we don't want much and we want nice. Oh, drop it instead. So I'm just cutting a piece off screen, 2 seconds. So we've just got a little tiny bit with a free dog hair in there. Don't want that. Tiny little piece there. And lay that underneath onto the wire. Alternatively, you can use heat shrink tube, but these wires are so thin. So what I'm going to do is wrap that around there, and to protect that join, and as it is part of this loom anyway, I'm going to put the rest of the loom there as well, and just wrap the rest around the loom like so. So now we have that. Also protects this section a little bit. So that is done, and hopefully that will be fine. Obviously that got caught up when they were putting the body together in the warehouse, and I'm just going to put this, sorry, I moved the camera for a close-up and I'm a bit too close now, so I'm just going to check that those wires are not touching anything that they shouldn't be before I put that back in there. So obviously I'm aware that that speaker is a little bit loose in the back, and you can actually see it through the rear window there, but when I put in the new speaker, it's going to be obviously like the iPhone speakers, so it's going to be quite low. Just making sure that the bogies are moving all right and there's nothing fouling them. No, I'm just going to drop these screws back in. And do this up. So anyway, yeah, let me know if you'd like to see some videos on basic soldering, so if that's of any use to anyone out there. So soldering's pretty easy. It's not as scary as people might think. I do it all the time. I actually was very lucky. I got taught by my next door neighbour when I was about 7 years old, he was a colonel in the REME, so he's in the Royal Electrical Mechanical Engineers. And when I had my model railway as a child, he taught me how to wire up all the LEDs and that sort of thing, and lights and that. So I learned it from a very young age, and it is easy. So right, so that one's done. I'm going to go and program them now. I'm at the programming track now. I'm just reading the decoder on the loco there, and I'll come back to you very shortly once it's read, because it does take a little while. I'm sure you don't want to sit there watching that. Right, so it's finished programming the decoder and found it at obviously address 3, which is what they're all set up at. So let's have a look, and we'll switch the lights on first. Okay, so yep, the lights going on there, the outer one there, but not the inner one there by the looks of it. Let's just move this round a little bit. Yeah, I don't know if those should both be on. Let me know if you know about these. So let's give her a start up. Well, it seems to be working all right. Alright, very jerky. That's not a good sign. Obviously it's only just being run, so, but that light not working, very jerky. Never had that before with a new loco. That's a little bit smoother now, it's getting there. Might be just literally where it's just been first run. I don't know. It seems to be getting a little bit better. Oh, jerking again now though. So let's test out some of the other functions on that. Right, maybe it just needs a little bit of a run. We'll see. Turn that one off for now. I'm just going to go in and change some of the CV address numbers on this one, and I'll be back. Right, well, it's looking quite good so far. As you can see, running quite nicely. I'll do a few various shots in different areas of the layout. So just going back to the issue of the lights, I don't think that is actually an issue. I think that's how they're meant to be. The dummy car is the same, so I think that's normal. I would have, it's just I think it looks strange with one side lit and the other not. Anyway, in conclusion, for my review on the loco, apart from the few bits that let it down with the paintwork, which one of them on the roof there is strikingly obvious, you can see it from here. The actual locos run really well, as you saw, the pulling power. So it pulled all of that lot up my helixes. I didn't adjust the power at all. I left it on one setting all the way around. It went up there perfectly, no problems. So on any normal layout without helixes or hills, it's going to be really good. And we'll have to run it in and see if that jerkiness goes. Might be it didn't get oiled properly. Maybe I might have a look at the gearing and just check it's got oil in it and give it a quick, grease up or whatever. So I'll let you know in a future video what how how it goes. But what I will do is I'm going to have it running for an hour each way on its own, just the loco, with obviously no coaches etc., and see if it does pick up a little bit, if it changes the characteristics of the motor. It might be, like I said, just because it needs running in. So, but my review on it, running wise, 10 out of 10, brilliant so far, apart from the jerkiness, which I'm assuming will go. Just a shame about a few of the bodywork issues. So, but the actual model itself, the detail, absolutely brilliant, love it. So we'll see, it's got some great detailing on there, and the well, I don't think there's much more I can say really. I think the running on the hills and everything else speaks for itself. It is a good loco, as Hornby normally are, and I'll, like I said, I'll let you know how it goes with the smoothness of it. Only one thing I would say, which is a shame, is that on the coaches you have these beautiful locks that really are nice. On the loco it comes with that great big decoupling, so you have to put the decoupling out of the coach pack onto the coaches, which is a shame, because if the train had linked up with couplings like that, it would have looked a lot nicer than those. But I will look at, I believe Hunt do couplings for the HST, so I shall be looking at those soon anyway. So anyway, thanks for watching. I'm aware that this is a bit of a lengthy video today, and I'm sorry about that, but hope you guys have enjoyed it, and hope to hear from you all soon. So please hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't, and I'll try to bring more content soon. Thank you very much.